to allow anybody that needs to come in to get here. So I will just be waiting for that and making sure that I have everything as I need to. Okay. So while that's going, I am going to open up my pattern. All right. Hello, hello. I apologize in advance. I guess I'm gonna have to buy a microphone separate. Um, my video yesterday, sound was terrible because it was really hot yesterday and our AC was on and I could really hear it. So I apologize for that if you watched yesterday's video, and I'm hoping that it's not loud right now. If you don't already have your pattern, you can go to Pearl Soho and just type in half and half triangles wrap. It's free, it's listed right on the site. I did decide to go ahead because I thought, you know, the very first thing you do on this wrap is you cast on, if you're doing the larger size, you would cast on 260 stitches. And I thought, no one wants to watch me cast on 260 stitches. So I did go ahead and do that before I started the live here. I cast on, oops, let's see, I'm stuck. Okay. So what I did, hello, hello. If you guys want, type something in the chat box so that I can see if it pops up for me. I'd hate to be missing your questions. I did click on it, but I don't know if it's working. And let me know if you can hear me. Let's see. I showed that I'm connected, but I'm not sure because I don't see anybody saying anything. Well, let's see. It's been a while since I've done this, so what is that? Ah, there we go. Here's Wendy. Hello, yay. We are going to work on casting on the half and halves triangle wrap from Pearl Soho if you want to join along with the knit along. If you don't, that's okay. You can work on anything you want and just be here and be a part of it. It's just a quick little video. What I'm going to do is, for those that are going to do the half and half wrap, I will make sure that this video does get reposted, so if anybody misses part of the live, that's okay. I will also go back in. I did a video, I think last week, where I kind of talked about that if you wanted to complete the half and half wrap, I had a day by day stitch count to get to so that you could finish it on by the summer solstice. So it runs from spring solstice to summer solstice. And then you would know, oh, this is how much I'd want to do every day. Kind of like an Advent or something like that when you're doing a goal that would get you completely finished by the summer solstice. But you don't have to do that, and you don't even have to be working on this project. You can just be crocheting or knitting or weaving or cross stitching or making a quilt or whatever you like doing. You're still welcome here. But what I did want to do on the live today, just because sometimes if you haven't done this before, it might be tricky to you. Um, I did want to, trying to get this, I've twisted my stitches here. Ugh. If you've never done one of these before, some people are a little, this is a very easy potato chip knit, that's what I would call this. And some people feel a little bit intimidated when they see that there are short rows, even though there's nothing to be intimidated about. It's very easy. This is a garter project, so you are just knitting across every row. But it is done with short rows, and those short rows are very easy to complete. And I wanted to make sure that I showed you guys how to do those short rows because they're very easy. But one thing that I noticed when I made my first wrap is I did my short rows wrong on the first half of the triangle because short rows are done differently when you're doing them on stockinette because you have a knit side and you have a purl side. And when you're doing garter, the short rows are a little different. They're actually easiest to do on garter. But a lot of the tutorials that I watched and knit-alongs that I had watched previously were doing the wrap and turns as if it was on stockinette, which does work, but is overkill, and you end up completely wrapping your stitch around and halfway back around again. And that's probably just sounding confusing. So, for those of you who are going to follow along, whichever size you're making, you're either going to cast on 190 stitches for the large or 260 stitches for the larger size. I'm doing the full 260, and the 260 is what my counts, daily count goals are written for. So if you're doing the smaller size, that's fine. You just wouldn't be able to use the numbers that I provided you because they're for the big guy. So I went ahead and I cast on my 260 stitches so that you guys did not have to watch me do that. And then row 1 is your right side row. And it's easy to tell which side is the right side because when you do row 1, you are going to have your yarn tail on the right side. So if your yarn tail is on the right side, then you're looking at the right side. Easy. And row 1 is knit to the end of the row. So you're going to knit across all of your stitches, which I've done that as well because I know no one wanted to watch me do that. And then row 2, you turn your work and you're going to knit almost to the end. And this is where the wrap and turn start, and this is where the repeat of the triangle scarf starts. So that is what I wanted to show you guys. I did not complete this row because I wanted us to be together for it. So to be clear one more time, and if you're just joining in, I have cast on 260 stitches. I have completed row 1 where I have knit across all 260 stitches. I have started row 2 where I am knitting back across again, but I am not going to complete this row. I'm going to start my short rows. And on row 2 it says to knit to the last 3 stitches and place a marker. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm almost to the end here now. So I'm just going to start knitting until I have 3 stitches left on my needle. I don't know how great I'm going to be at talking and knitting at the same time. I'll have to get used to it, right? Okay, so I have knit, I have 3 stitches remaining on my left needle. And now what it tells me to do, this is going to be a little bit different will be, but we'll be there soon. Just be patient. First time you do this, knit until we have 3 stitches left. It says to place a marker. It says to knit 1. And knit 1. Now it says to wrap and turn. So this is where it's different than when you're doing a stockinette project. What they say to do for their instructions, which are written right here on the pattern. If you read their instructions for how to complete the wrap and turns, it tells you very clearly. Nothing has changed. Our yarn is still in the back. We've got these 2 stitches left. It says to pass 1 stitch from your left needle to your right needle, purl wise. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just going straight in and I'm passing it over. Then it says to bring your yarn to the front. So I'm going to bring my yarn to the front like if I was going to purl the next stitch. And then it says to pass the stitch that you just passed to the right needle back to the left needle, back purlwise. So we're not changing the orientation of that stitch. We literally scooched it over, brought our yarn to the front, and then put it back over to the left needle. And that's it. We're done. That has been wrapped, and now we're going to turn the work. Okay? And our yarn tail is already at the back because remember, we brought it forward and we left it there. So when we spun our work, our yarn is already where it needs to be. And we are now, I want to read the exact instructions so that there is no confusion. We are going to simply knit to the end of the row, slipping our marker as we go. So we've wrapped, we've turned, and now we're just going to knit back all the way to the beginning of the row. And now that is our, what I would call our setup wrap and turn row. And what is going to happen for the rest of this pattern is we will knit back, we're going to slip that marker, we're going to wrap our next stitch, turn, knit 1, place our marker back, and knit back across again. We're just going to keep doing that over and over and over again. So we'll be coming forward 1 stitch. We just wrapped our 259th stitch because there was 260 total stitches. We had 3 left. We knit 1, and then we wrapped that 259th stitch and we turned. So when we come back the next time, we'll be wrapping and turning the 258th stitch, and then the 257th, and so on and so forth. Is that clear as mud? Donna, did you get all your yarn figured? You're going with the, you're still going with the hand-dyed green, right? Yes, I do knit continental because I was a crocheter first. I don't know how to, do you know how to, is there a way that I can do that? I changed the orientation from landscape to portrait. I saw that clearly, but I don't see a way. I'll look like a left-hand knitter, I guess, if I'm not. Okay, yeah, it's gonna, that cast on takes a while, and that's why I thought, you know what, I'm not gonna make these poor people suffer and watch me cast on. But like I say, this is such an easy project. You literally are just knitting garter, and when you get to the end of your wrong side rows, you're doing a wrap and turn. Oh, that was smart of you, Donna. That was smart. Yeah, I got up this morning and I was like, oh boy, the juicy part of this is the wrap and turns. And I will say, you know, you're gonna, if you go on YouTube also, there's 1,000 people that have done stuff. But like I said, everybody that I did see that did the regular wrap and turns did them as if they were for stockinette stitch. Which, like I say, it's done a little differently, and does it work? It does work. That is how my first one is done. It's just more work than is needed. You don't have, well, You're doing a little bit extra um, stuff when you do it that way. This is very simple. Every wrap and turn is done the same. Slip the stitch from the left to the right, bring the yarn to the front, slip your stitch back to the left needle, turn your work around, knit as normal. I think the trickiest part is knowing where to put your stitch marker starting out, and that's why I said I'm going to just show you guys. But the pattern is so clear. There is just no mistake, and if you look at the pattern, it just tells you exactly what to do. So you really cannot go wrong. But this is the kind of project that you're just going to be sitting there, and you don't. I'm not one of those people. I envy those people that I can't take my knitting to a movie theater, even if it's just a sock. I have to look at my knitting. I don't know how people do that, where they can knit without looking at their knitting. But I do watch TV. I'll just glance up and down. I just got to make sure I'm in the right stitch, and then I can look up at the TV and what have you. Speaking of, I don't know if that's putting out any volume, but I hope not. I think I have made another mistake. You guys ever have one of those days where you wake up and every single solitary thing goes wrong? Because that is what happened to me today. My husband was like, what is happening? I don't know. Everything I touched today has been a complication, has broken, failed in some kind of a way. How did I lose the remote to the television? Oh. I don't know. Let's see. I didn't go anywhere. I'm just right here. Oh, there it is. I found it. I found it. It's turned down really low, but I just want to mute it just because. Just in case we don't need any further complications. Can everybody hear me okay? How is this sound? It was just so terrible yesterday. I mean, truly awful. But yeah, the reason why I love this project so much is, like I say, you don't have to count. You don't have to know where you're at. You don't have to know anything. Once you get this setup going, all you do is knit until you come to a marker. Yeah. And once you get to the marker, that's just your cue to do your wrap and turn. And that's it. There's no, you don't have to keep track of that or count it or anything. If you're not knitting, then you're doing something wrong. Because that's all you've got to do. And like I say, once you're done, you've got such a comfort piece. And a lot of people, some people don't wear their half and half wraps as actual like knitted accessories. I do. It doesn't bother me one bit. But I think everybody that has them. Which one? This one? This is a yarn bowl. And then this is my yarn basket. It's a seagrass basket. And I bought him off of Amazon. I actually talk about it, I think, not my last video, but the video before that one. And I put a link, but if you just go on Amazon and type in seagrass basket, what's fun about these is when it's not filled with yarn, which this one is, this goes in. You just pop it in, and then it is it's a pretty sturdy as it is, but once you pop the upper inside, it just flips right inside. Then you've got a perfect bowl. But I love having the handle, so that's fun. Yeah, that was a good buy. I do not do a double-stranded cast on. No, I just single-stranded. I did a traditional long tail. in the pattern, I do believe that they say a long tail cast on, but I guess you could just do any, whatever cast on you wanted to. I just do a plain old long tail cast on, which is always fun to try to calculate how much yarn when you're casting on that many stitches long tail, because you have to overestimate, otherwise you're in trouble. Yeah, I love these baskets. I think they're great. They come in 3 different sizes, and the one that I posted, the link is for the largest size, which I believe is I think they listed it as an 11-inch. I think it was 20 bucks, right around $20. Now Pearl Soho sells them on their website, and they're probably much nicer, because this one does have like some little ends that you know would want to be mindful. I haven't had any problems, but there are some little sticky ends where the end of the weaving comes, but they were out on Pearl Soho, and the price is about the same, but they've been out of stock on those. And I didn't see that last comment. What did that say? How can I bring out the, oh, there we go, perfect. You know, I have seen that, Donna. I just, because I'm using all these little scraps, I don't know if you saw my video where I was talking about my plan for the half and half, but I didn't even think about that. That's smart to do that. But yeah, I'm just using scraps, so I don't have 2 balls of the same color. I've decided I wanted to start with my striped side, so I have all 40 of my leftover mini skeins from my Joy of Color scarf, and I'm going to be doing approximately 6 complete passes of each color, so I'll have 40 stripes on my first side of my half and half, and then the second side of my half and half is just going to be pale oats, which is just kind of an off creamy white. So I'm very excited for this. So this will be fun. But yeah, that was smart, Anna. That's a really good idea. We should have had you in here hosting this. That was a great idea. Maybe for my next one that I do, I will have to bring up inner and outer strand, same color for, oh yeah, I've done it before. It's just been a really long time, and I didn't even think about that. That's actually a pretty good idea for this, since you're using, if you're doing the traditional, which is all I've ever done other than right now, you're using, 3 balls of yarn anyways. You should have 2 to start. So that's a smart idea. But yeah, I can't wait to see this one. I know, I ended up losing, I didn't do too bad. I ended up cutting off about that much extra tail, because you have to you don't want to under, because that is very frustrating, because then you have to start over again. But, or you can, I say that, I wouldn't start over again. I'd get to the end and then I'd start doing a cast on, or what, I can't even remember what they call that. A knitted cast on, where you just have your one tail and then you use your separate needle and you pick it up like a knit stitch and pull it through and then twist it and pop it on the end of the needle. You ever done that? You can do that. You could just do that from the start with this as well. A knitted cast on. It is whatever you like, honestly. Just as long as you can get all 260 stitches on there. That's what's important. But yeah, I ended up cutting off about that much. It is slower. It is slower. But where am I at here? Whew. I gotta say, I'm talking too much. I'll never get through this. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting this one. Oh, I can't wait to see it. And I think it's going to encourage me also to hit those daily counts, because I'll be wanting to get to the next color. Um, so that's that'll be the that'll be one more thing. I've got my stitch counts, which by the way, you're only going to do 2 wrap and turns today, and get back to the beginning of your row, and you're going to be done for the day if you want to be, if you're following along on the day by day counts. Um, so yeah, this will be good. But I know myself, and I'm going to be excited because I'm going to want to get this first color done and start on my next color. So it'll just encourage me to race along there. Now the second side of this triangle, I know that's going to be the slog for me because it's going to be all being done in plain old white. And after doing this first fun side with all the different colors, I suspect, and the second half of the triangle seems to it feels like it's taking longer, and even though it's not, I mean, it's the same basically, it's just done in reverse. So whereas on this half of the triangle, we start, recruit people for the KAL, I might have convinced one. Hey, and you know what, it's all for fun. I appreciate that, Donna. um, Anybody that wants to join in can join in anytime. And if no one joins in and it's just me and Donna and Wendy, or then you know what, that's all right too. We're just going to enjoy ourselves and have beautiful stuff. I think it's really important. It's one of my biggest goals right now is what I consider myself being in my comfort knitting phase. I know I did set this up where, oh, you could finish this in 3 months, and I really want to be clear that I hope that didn't present itself as let's hurry up and make something real quick, because that was not my intention. um, I think a lot of us sometimes, especially when it's something new or we're excited, we may put a lot of pressure on ourselves to make this not as fun as it should be, because we want a product, and that's okay. But if it starts feeling like a job instead of a relaxation, then that's when we need to ask ourselves, do we want to work on something different? And that's why I always have more than one project going. I usually have something that I have like a deadline set for myself in my mind. Oh, I want to get this done really quick for a purpose. And then I'll have something else that I can just pick up and not think about and find comfort. And I spend a lot of time inside my own head while I'm knitting. I'm so happy you learned too, Donna. I remember um, when I first found your channel and we had started talking, you were just crocheting. And I remember saying something about, oh, you should knit something or try something. And I wish I could find the comments or our correspondence, and you were like, oh, I cannot do that. I tried that before. That was not. Or something. You weren't. And I was like, no, try it again. Um, I think some of it, I had tried knitting before I started knitting this last time when I actually started, which I remember it was about 2010 when I actually started knitting again. I learned to crochet, well, to be fair, when I was like 6. My mom had taught me how to finger knit, where you wrap the loops around your fingers and pass them, and you could make a long chain. And I loved doing that. I would make 40-foot long trains. I don't know what I was doing with those, but I learned that when I was a little bitty kid. And then when I was 16, my ex-husband's grandma taught me to crochet, and I started really actually crocheting little baby blankets, just things here and there. I think mostly only little blankets. And so I just crocheted off and on for, I don't know, what was that, about 20 years. And then, I think once or twice in there, I tried to knit something, and it was a disaster. I was like, ooh, I am terrible at knitting. Um, because I was trying to knit English style, which I find obviously can be done, but I think it's difficult for a lot of right-handed crocheters to try to learn to knit English style. Because when you're a right-handed crocheter, you already tension your yarn, and I know Donna said this is not mirrored, but this is my right hand, this is my left hand. As a crocheter, I would tension my yarn with my left hand, and I would crochet with my hook in my right hand. So I was already used to tensioning my yarn with my left hand. And so when I first started learning to knit, I didn't know that you could do anything different than what I saw everybody else doing. Yes, 260, Donna, that's right, for the larger. Oh, thank you. This is baby Gaia. She's my senior lady. She's starting to get old on me. But yeah, I didn't know. I didn't have anybody telling me. I was learning to knit from YouTube. And I had bought a little kit at Hobby Lobby. I remember that, and I read the directions. It was one of those learn to knit with terrible straight needles, and you know, where we all start. I think they might have even been wood. But, or really cheap aluminum, probably. I didn't know that you could change anything. So I tried to do it, and I was very slow wrapping and then fiddling, and you know, it was awful. It was hideous, hideous, hideous knitting, and I didn't like it. It took me like, I was like, gosh, I could have crocheted 20 of these things in the time it took me to do half of this one. I was like, this is very slow. But anyways, I didn't knit again for a long time. And then in 2010, I saw the cutest little fingerless mitts, and I just knew that they would not do to be crocheted. And I thought, okay, I'm going to try this one more time. Fingerless mitts are probably not the best first knitting pattern, but I did it. I made my friend what I thought was a pretty darn cute pair of fingerless mitts, and I completed them, and it took me a long time, but I was pretty happy with them. They were worsted weight yarn, so they came out fairly decently, and they were of a style that they were just knit flat and then seamed. But it gave me hope that maybe I could become a knitter, you know, and just started picking it up. And once I saw, I can't remember who it was, maybe it was Mikey from a crochet crowd. There was this little brief stint in about 2010 where I think he even called it the knit crowd for about 5 minutes. It didn't last long, I don't feel like. But he was dabbling with knitting and doing some tutorials, which I found very nice because he wasn't a knitter either. So now he was teaching the basics, but he was also a student himself. So it was very relatable to me because he knew exactly where we were coming from because he was right there with us all. But I feel like it was him, and he was continental because he was a crocheter. And once I found out that I could do that I was allowed, that was it. I was all about it. And then I, you know, became a much faster knitter because I was not getting on well with trying to tension with my right hand. Throwing, is that called throwing, right? This is called picking and throwing. All right, I am almost completed with my row 2. Now, if you guys see this, don't pay any attention to it because I don't want you guys to get confused. I am doing an I-cord edge on my triangle wrap. That can throw people off if I don't want anybody getting confused, but if you see me slipping these stitches at the end, that's because I am, yay, Donna's about to knit her first row. Is this, you got it cast on, you're gonna do your first 260 all the way across? All right. So, now, I don't want to say anything wrong here. All right, I just completed my row 2. Or my row 3, sorry. Making myself get confused already. Okay. No, I completed my, boy howdy, my brain is not ready. Where's my coffee? Hold on. Hold up. Okay. Oh, we're having a visitor. Who could it be? I bet it's my daughter coming to get this limeade that I offered her. She said she didn't want, and I already gave it to them. I'm on a live YouTube video, just so you know.
Oh my goodness! Hi! Hi, baby.
Row 1 is right after cast on, and you're going to knit 260 stitches. So you should stay plain, knit all the way across the row. Row 2 is the first row where you knit until you have 3 stitches left and you do your wrap and turn. Row 3 is where you knit all the way back, and I call that a return row, so that you get back to the end of the row. So you have this, you're not in a circle anymore. I never ever ever stop in the middle of a right side row, because then you're going to be having a gap and you're going to have pressure and you're going to have a tweak in your yarn. I don't like that. I like to finish a right side row, because when a right side row is completed, remember the right side row is when your yarn tail is here. So if I was going to start now knitting again, I know I'll be on a wrong side row because my tail's going to be on the left. Anyways, I always complete my rows. I go, I do my wrap and turn, and I return all the way back to the beginning again, because that's a complete pass to me. You know, if you've ever done Tunisian crochet, you know, you go across, you pick up all your loops, and then you do a return pass and bring it back to the beginning. I think of the half and half in the same kind of way. You knit, do your wrap and turn, and then come back. That's how I do it. You can do what you like though, Wendy. I'm not the boss of you. So your, yes, your odd rows or your return rows are your right side. That's right, Donna. And it does say that on your pattern. It says row 1, right side. That's what you're doing right now. Knit to the end of your row. Row 2 is your wrong side. Your even rows are your wrong side, and those are your wrap and turn rows. Okay. I'm getting help. You cannot lay on, just lay right on my knitting. Okay, hi, you can't be here. I'm so sorry. I love you, but no. Okay. Oh, it's on the printer. Well, luckily you don't really need it. I think you really only need the pattern to start a triangle and to finish a triangle. Once you do that, it's the same thing over and over. Okay, so now I am on row 4. So I'm going to be on my second wrap and turn row. And on row 4, it's telling me that I'm going to knit to my marker. I'm gonna remove my marker and I'm gonna wrap and turn. Easy peasy. So that's what I'm gonna do. Squinch that down. So much, guys. Look at that. If I miss anybody's comments, I'm sorry. I don't know how to lock the chat box onto my screen. Now, when someone types a comment, it pops up, but it only stays up for a few seconds. If anybody knows how to lock the chat box screen thing on, tell me, because I hate to miss anything. But if you do see me missing it, it's just because I was looking down at my knitting and I didn't see what you said and it disappeared before I looked back up again. I'm trying to look. Okay, so Wendy, are you doing the triangle wrap with us, or are you working on something different today? Well, just let us know when you see that, or when you hear that. If you come back and you hear that, let us know what you're working on. Has anybody noticed that YouTube is being really particularly odd lately? It's kind of driving me crazy. Working on a cross stitch sampler. Ooh, nice. Who's it by? Who are you stitching today? What pattern are you using? Oh, this is your very first sampler. Oh, I love a good sampler. I love some of the reproduction samplers. Gosh, some of them are so gorgeous. And many of them are done by like these. It's like Isabel Brown, 6 years old. And I'm like, what? I'm like, this is amazing. This house and all the letters and everything. I usually do full coverage. I like full coverage too. I've never finished one. I've got 2 full coverage that I've been working on now since 2020. They were actually my very first cross stitch pieces that I purchased. I purchased 2 kits right out of the gate from Heaven and Earth Designs. One of them is a light and do you knit too? Oh, one of them is A Light in the Darkness, I think is the name of it, and it's been discontinued. But it's Gandalf the Grey in it looks like he's in the cave and he's got his pipe, and I've been working on that one. And then the other one, I forget what it is called, but it's a black cat. It's kind of a spooky scene. It's a black cat with a broom and like a witch's hat and like a moon in a forest, and cannot remember the name of that person. But anyways, will I ever finish them? I do not know. But that was I saw, it was during quarantine. I'm a respiratory therapist, and I got COVID in December of 2020, and I was really sick and I was off work, and I was watching YouTube, 1679 by 1884 Stitchery. Okay. Are you doing like a DMC conversion, or are you doing fancy floss? I love some of these fancy flosses. I mean, it can get quite pricey to do. I'm not familiar with that exact sampler, if it's one of those huge ones or not. Anyways, I was sick. And I had been watching crocheting and knitting, but I was too weak to do any of those things. So I was just watching YouTube, and you know how YouTube does? It gets you on straight DMC. It gets you on something, and then it'll just start rabbit down the rabbit hole or whatever. I don't know. And it put me on to Teresa Little Stitcher, and she was doing full coverage. And I thought, what in the world is this? This looks amazing. And I was hooked. And man, I think I watched every video that she did, and then I started watching every video that other full coverage. I got really onto Ginger Gerald Stitcher. There was a Blitz Stitch. He was a gentleman that did full coverage. A lot of different. I just started watching everybody, and I ended up buying way too much cross stitching supplies. And it's sad because I have started so many. I have a ridiculous amount of cross stitch whips. Oh, I love Teresa Kogut. I love her stuff. Her and the Blue Flower are my favorite. My most favorite. I think their designs are just stunning. And I do love Plum Street Samplers. I like their stuff. I'm working on a buzzard and a crow. Cute. They're like a little set. They're two separate patterns, but that's my two Plum Streets. One day I'll finish them. I just decided to do them 1/1 on a 25 count fabric, which is beautiful. But my eyeballs are not as happy as they were apparently in 2020 when I started this stuff. I'll tell you what. It's getting real hard, and I bought a lot of hand-dyed linen, and boy, let me tell you, do I ever regret buying all this beautiful hand-dyed linen that I just can't seem to see. It's all like 40 count and 36 count, and my eyeballs are just not about it. Halloween pattern called I Scream, You Scream. We all scream for Halloween. That sounds up my alley. I am working on the Lila Studios Halloween sampler. And the only reason it's not done is because it is on 42 count hand-dyed linen. And for all y'all knitters out there, do you know what happens to linen when you hand dye it? It gets even smaller. So the higher the number, the smaller the holes, because that's how many holes there are per inch. 42 count linen is no joke when it's been hand dyed. So it's taking me a long time. I have to use the magnifier glasses that I absolutely hate in order to work on the Lila Studios Halloween sampler, but it is gorgeous. It is one of my most favorite things. And one day I will finish it. It is tiny, Donna. It's so tiny. And I just envy these little people that can see. It is rough. All right, I'm moving right along here. If I'd stop yapping, I'd have probably got, I want to show you guys. Hey, I didn't expect that I was going to make it through the whole first day's worth of this cowl. That's my southernness coming out. KAL. It's a cowl, not a cowl. But I'm going to show you guys one more time how simple it is to do that wrap and turn that we love, love, love. So Donna's completing row 1, right? You're going to do your first 260, and then you're going to turn and do your first. Did you finish your mom's wrap? It's actually a blanket, and no, I have not finished it. It's going to take a long time. I'm hoping to give her that for Christmas. It's actually right back here. I am on the final square of the first strip. It's done in, half and half. It's supposed to resemble quilt blocks. And the first strip is 5 total squares. And I am on my 5th square. So as soon as that's done, I'll be done with the first row. And then I will move over to the second row of blocks, and they'll be 5 high. So it's 4 rows wide, 5 blocks high. So it's gonna take some time. That's fine. I'm not in a rush. It's another potato chippy knit. It's fun. There's a little more interest in it because you are changing colors and you are doing a join as you go knit technique, which is kind of fun. Just gives it something a little bit different to work on. But right now my main projects are all what I would consider to be comfort knitting projects. Maybe my other half and half. No, I'm not done with it yet. I was showing my husband last night. I think I have completed the first triangle, and then the second triangle, I think I started to say this earlier and my brain went another way. The first triangle seems like it's getting faster and faster because you start out by knitting all the way to the end and your rows get shorter and shorter and shorter on this first half of the triangle. The second triangle is the opposite, and it feels like it takes longer because you start out with a few stitches, wrap and turn, and then your row gets bigger each time you turn. So it seems like your rows are literally getting longer and longer and longer on that second triangle. So when you get near the end of that second triangle, when you get near the end of that project, that's when you're doing the most stitching, okay? So I think I am up to, I have like 70 stitches left to pick up. That's right. Yeah, the first half of this triangle we're decreasing. The second half we're increasing. So, damn baby. But yeah, I think I've got another 70 stitches. So my rows are getting longer and longer again, and it is taking me, an hour to do a couple of rows. Whereas, obviously shorter rows don't take as long. In case y'all didn't know that. In case y'all couldn't figure that one out on your own. Less stitches takes less time. Oh goodness. It's my treat. Sonic limeade with extra lime to keep us going today. Okay, ma'am, this is not working for me. You're not going to be able to sit on my lap right now, lady. Oh, goodness. Help. Now, Donna, don't do what I did the first time I made my half and half. The first time I made it, when I went to do row 1, I started my wrap and turn. No, don't do that. You gotta knit all 260 stitches. And then row 2, you're gonna turn your work and knit until you have 3 stitches left. Just a friendly reminder. And even if you did do that though, you wouldn't rip that out. You'd just keep going exactly like I did, and no one would be any the wiser. You would, at least I wouldn't. So, what I was talking about the other day, isn't it funny how, I don't know if any of you are like me, but I have terrible brain fog. And I'll start conversations with you guys in the middle of a video and then forget all about it. And then 3 days later, when I'm doing a different video, I'll remember that I started to tell y'all something and got distracted and never finished that thought. But I had mentioned a few videos back about mistakes in knitting, and I had come across a couple of different things about mistakes in knitting that I think justifies the fact that I don't rip back. It is very rare that I'm going to rip back. Number one, I don't make a lot of garments like shirts or something to where it'd be imperative to rip back. If I did make a big mistake, obviously like in the middle of the front of a garment or something, I would have to fix that. But for the most part, I will do just about anything I can do to fudge it. Or at the very least, I will, if I see a mistake, like a tuck stitch or something, I'll go on and knit until I get back to that stitch, and then I'll just drop that one stitch down to where I need to just fix it a couple of rows below. Does that make sense? As opposed to ripping back rows and rows of knitting. I'm just not about that, really. But anyways, I feel that I have been justified in that because I was watching another knitter's channel the other day, and she was talking about Persian carpets. Now, real Persian carpets are handmade. Not in factories, not on machines. And the tradition with Persian carpets is now and has always been to intentionally put in 2 or 3 mistakes in the carpet. And that proves that it is an actual, real, handmade Persian carpet. And if you find a Persian carpet that does not have 2 or 3 mistakes in it, then it was made by a machine. Because these are intentional and they're done at random, so no two will ever be exactly the same. Yeah. So, there's that. Now, the second thing that I had heard, and this is kind of fun, little spooky lore. I'm not sure, I feel like when I first read this, it was coming from, I just want to keep thinking Japanese lore, but I could be wrong on that. But what it was talking about was that when doing fiber work, weaving, knitting, whatever, that the maker leaves little pieces of their soul in their work. And if there is not at least one mistake within the work, then that piece of soul would stay trapped in the work. It would not be able to have an escape plan. So I like that. My husband was like, oh, that's why you're the way you are. You left your soul. I was like, no, I don't think I've ever made anything that doesn't have a mistake. He said, well, it's all those half-finished projects that you've got. I was like, no, that's got a lot of mistakes in it because it's not finished yet. So, but anyways, I thought that was another little fun, twisty, information-y thing. So, you guys, mistakes are fine. That's what sets them apart from whatever you bought at Walmart or fast fashion or what have you. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, leave your mistakes in. And boy, people frog out a lot of cross stitch too, and I'm like, oh no, we gotta figure that out. On a full coverage, do you really go back in and find that one piece of floss that you accidentally skipped in that color, or do you just fly by the seat of your pants for the most part? I fly by the seat of my pants a lot. All right, boy. I'm almost to my second wrap and turn. Which, like I said, if you're following along with the daily schedule, the second wrap and turn of the day, you do. I might do it too. I have gone back and just added like one strand and just popped it through, just to kind of give the illusion of that color if it's significantly different. I've done that before. Tried to cover over it. I'm not trying to take a stitch out, because you're tearing up everything. It's just not, especially if you're on linen. Oh, goodness gracious. Can't wait to see what this is going to look like. All these colors. Donna, did you start with your green half or did you start with your gray half? Green. That was pretty. That came out so nice. You know, my daughter bought me a bunch of undyed yarn and dye for Christmas a few years back, and I still have not done it. I did, however, oh gosh, it's been probably, boy, how long? 10 years ago, maybe? Oh, you're going to do the purple. Okay, okay. I knew you had said that you had a green, a gray, and a purple, but I think maybe you had said your gray was a different type of fiber. Maybe that's what it was. So I think green and purple is going to be amazing. That'll be so gorgeous. With the green side just having just a little pop of purple showing or being nice and flipping it the other, that's going to look good. That's going to be good. I love green and purple together. I'm also finding I'm really liking pink and green together. The gray's going to be throughout. Oh my gosh, that's going to be really pretty. That is going to be so pretty. That'll be a nice cozy piece. All right. I'm almost back to my marker, guys. I'm almost back to my marker. So it says, for my row 4 here, I'm going to open it up so I don't say anything wrong to y'all. Row 4, knit to the marker, remove the marker, and wrap and turn. Okay. So, this is the way I do this. Y'all are going to see my evil bad ways. Knit to the marker. Remove the marker. I can't talk to y'all if I do that. That's how I usually do it though. Just pop it there, wrap, turn. Okay. Knit to the marker, removed the marker, wrap and turn. So, we slide the stitch from the left needle to the right needle. We bring our yarn tail from the back to the front. We slid that stitch we just put over onto our right needle back to the left needle. Our yarn is still hanging in the front. We turn our work. We pick up our yarn. It is already in the back of our work where we need it to be so that we can knit across. And now it says, row 5, knit 1 and put your marker back on. Yay! So that's what we're going to do. We're going to knit 1, put our marker back on. So we just wrapped our 258th stitch. And now we are going to knit across to the end of the row. All the way back across. And if you look at my directions for today, it said that you were going to work until you had wrapped the 258th stitch, turn your work, and do your return pass back to the beginning. And that will complete day 1. Okay, so what do you think? Was that clear as mud? Wrapping and turning 1 stitch at a time. And moving on, every row is the same. It is the same. Only the first wrap and turn we had to place our marker and get everything set up, right? Now, you are going to knit, 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 and then turn your work, knit, knit, knit. Once you get to the marker, you take the marker off, slip your stitch over, bring your yarn to the front, slip the stitch back over, turn the work, knit 1 stitch. You've always got to knit your honey. And I say that because if you look at these, when you got them spread out, your two little stitches will be together because that wrap stitch is going to be stuck on that one stitch that you knit, and then you put your marker back on, and that's it. Knit, 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 knit. So I told you guys this was a very easy project. Very easy. Just knit, unless you're at a marker. And if you're at a marker, remove it, slip your stitch, bring your yarn forward, slip your stitch back, and turn your work and knit a stitch and put your marker back on. That is it. That is the whole thing until this first side is done. Now the second side is a little teeny bit different, but not much, because you're just resolving the stitch each time, because we're increasing. So we're gonna wrap and turn and go back, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna resolve that stitch, and we're gonna knit and wrap and turn the next stitch, and then but we're not gonna go into that. I don't want to confuse y'all. It's very easy, simple, and actually I think the second half of the triangle is even easier. You can use a marker on the second half, but I don't. You don't need it at all, because you can easily see what you're doing, and when we get there I'll show you that. But this is it, guys. We did it, or we're doing it, whatever you want to call it. This was what was important, and I know for a fact you're not going to be able to pay me enough money to put this away after I finish this row, because I want to start my next color so bad. And for me, well, it said for 40 colors to do 260 stitches in 40 different colors, I'd need to be doing 6 forward and backs, because that's the other thing, you know, it's not just one pass. You have to, it's a whole garter ridge, 260 times, right? Because we're doing them one at a time. So for me, I need to do 6 forward and backs, 6 to 7 forward and back passes to be able to use all 40 colors. And I want my stripes to be about the same thickness, approximately. So I'm not sure. We're gonna see. I assume that my, obviously my longest stripes aren't gonna go as far, because I've got about the same amount of yarn. So obviously my big stripes are not going to be able to be as fat as my smaller stripes. I'm just hoping I'll have enough. We'll find out. Hopefully it'll be similar. And then I don't know what I'm going to do with my other leftovers. Maybe I'll make myself some cute little, I was thinking about making some cute little stripy fingerless mitts, depending on how much yarn I have left over. So we'll see, we'll see. But next week sometime, if you watched my last video, or maybe it was the one before last, where I talked about the Sweet Nothing crochet scarf, I still have no clue as to how I'm going to film that. It may have to just be kind of like a crochet with me type of a tutorial, where I walk you guys through it. It's only for the most part, it's technically a 6-row repeat, but you could think of it as a 2-row repeat, because you're doing the same thing for 3 rows, and then you're going to do something different for 3 rows, and then you're going to go back, and so it's not going to be a difficult thing. It just may not be one of those really amazing, high quality production, professional tutorials for a beginner. It may be a, hi, I'm Brandy. We're going to start by chaining 4. You're going to put a double crochet in the first, and me doing it while I'm talking to you about it. But those are so cute, and you can really make one in less than an hour for sure. I think, and have a little cute little pop of color to wake up an outfit, right? All right, Donna, are you doing good? Did you get your, still working on that first row? See if I missed anybody's comments. 50 stitches left, and that's on row 1 or row 2. That's right, Donna. On garter, you only move the yarn once, and that's what I was saying about a lot of the tutorials you see where people are knitting these. They are, what they're doing is they're bringing their yarn forward, they're slipping the stitch, they're bringing their yarn back, they're slipping the stitch, they're turning the work, and they're bringing the yarn to the back. Because it's garter, it doesn't need to be in the front, which it would be if you were going to start purling because you were doing stockinette. So you've got this yarn that's gone forward and back 3 times technically. You do not do that on garter. On garter, you slip the stitch first. You slip the stitch, you bring the yarn forward, you slip the stitch back. And you don't move the yarn again. Your yarn is in the front, and when you spin it, it's already on the back side of your fabric for you to start knitting. So yes, you move the yarn once. So slip, move, slip, back. That's it. Easy, so easy. Easiest wrap and turns ever. Garter stitch wrap and turns are simple. Now, there are plenty of people that do the, yeah, I've done lots of wrap and turns. This was my first project doing it on garter stitch. And it threw me off because everyone, and it threw a lot of people off. And it will work, to be clear. Doing it the way that you do it on stockinette will work. My first one is done that way. It's just unnecessary. But it was in the round. Oh yeah, in the round is different too. That's right. But yeah, this is easy. This is the easiest short rows ever. Flat garter is the easiest short rows. Slip your stitch, move the yarn forward, slip your stitch back. That's all you gotta remember. And then when you turn, you always knit one and put your marker back on. So easy, easy, easy. And like I say, I love this project because you don't have to count. There's nothing, you don't have to be like, oh, wait a minute, where am I at? What am I doing? You're either working towards a marker to do a wrap and turn, or you're working back towards the end because you're finishing that row. And that's it. And it's all knit. But yeah, I think after I finish this row, I am going to get me some lunch. And then I'll probably work on this more. But yeah, next week I know for sure I'll do that tutorial. Are you going to do a live every Saturday? I don't think so, Donna, because Saturday's really the only day that I get to spend with my husband. Something about me that I learned, well, I know this about myself, but it doesn't keep me from doing what I do. I have a really bad problem of overcommitting on things because I get really passionate and excited about everything, and I'm like, oh, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, and then I burn out, and then I feel bad because I'm failing because I can't keep up with myself. And I did that as soon as I started this first video. I was like, I'm going to post every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I'm going to do this and this. And I just took this fun thing and I started making it have lots of rules and regulations, and like it's my job, and it's not my job. I'm not getting paid. I could get monetized, I suppose, over time. But I don't want it to have to be unpleasant for myself, but I tend to do that just because I get so excited. But that's the thing with a fun thing, right? It's fun until we start putting rules on turned it into a job. And I already started doing that. So I hate to commit and say 100% I'm always going to be here on this day, this time, all the time. Because then I'll feel like, oh, why did I do that? Why did I say I was going to do that? But I want to keep it fun and I want to keep it fresh. But I will definitely be doing lives here and there. I just don't know for sure. What I will likely do is I will mention it in the next regular video when I'm showing you guys things. Or I know I'd like to at least, I really want to be able to show my progress. But I don't want the videos to be boring, I don't want to be like, look, I've got another inch on my half and half done for the whole week. And everybody be like, yay, that's really not exciting. I'd like to have something to show, when you make a video. So, and I'm not worried about like affiliates and things like that. So I don't really have nothing I'm not trying to sell anything. So, other than what I've been working on or what I plan to work on, or if I'm not really putting stash right now either. I actually need to sell a bunch of yarn. I need to do it. I have a lot of yarn, beautiful yarn, that I just know I'm not going to use it. And I could donate it for sure. But considering I'm not working right now, it would be in my best interest to sell it. I spent a lot of money on this stuff. To try to recoup some of it would be smarter move for me. I give away a lot of stuff just because I don't want to be bothered with trying to sell stuff. But in this case, I really do need to sell. And if anybody in Oklahoma is looking to purchase a rigid, or not a rigid, a 5-heddle floor loom, I have one that I've only made 2 items on. I purchased a Harrisville Designs, I think it's a 42-inch 5-heddle floor loom, gorgeous. I had originally purchased a rigid heddle loom. I think it's the, can't remember the word. Anyways, I love it. I made several big wrap scarves on it. Loved it, so fun. Immediately was like, I want a floor loom. I want a big loom. Purchased it. It took me like 11 hours because that does not come to you put together. I think it took me about 11 hours to completely assemble this gorgeous Harrisville Designs 42-inch 5-heddle loom. And then it took me a long time to warp it. I did a very big warp. I wanted to do a one-time warp, similar to what they do on the sari looms, where you put like, 1200 warp on it. So anyways, I warped it with this warp that I would be able to make many projects on. Just weave, cut it off, start the next project without having to rewarp. So I spent all this time warping it, made a project like in the first day, took that one off, started a second project, was loving it, and then my cats, I've got cats, discovered the joys of a warped loom. And I discovered really quickly that I can't have that in my house without some locked area that the cats could never get to, because they destroyed that warp playing, getting excited, running through all those strings. Gosh, that was amazing to them. And terrible for me. And I realized, you're a rigid heddle loom girl. So I need to sell that. I know that you could have purchased it already put together, and it was like $350 more. And I was like, I'm paying $350. I'll put that together myself. So I figure I should at least be able to sell it for what I purchased it for because it's like new, first of all. And I already did the $350 worth of labor putting it together. So I need to sell that. So if you're in Oklahoma and you are wanting a big, beautiful weaving loom, get on YouTube and get influenced to purchase that bad boy and give me a holler because I need to sell that. I don't use it and I'm never going to use it because I'm never going to spend that amount of time warping it again. So that's that. Just don't do it if you have cats that like to play in yarn or strings or whatever, because it ain't gonna work for you. Alrighty, well, I'm almost back. I'm hungry. I have not ate today. I'm ready for a food. So if you join us later, I will announce on future videos if I'm going to be doing a live. What I'll probably do is I'll just put up like a quick few minute. Yay, Donna! You're starting on your first wrap and turn row. Perfect. You're going to do just great. It's going to be perfect, perfect, perfect. And like I say, the first wrap and turn row is kind of like the setup because you're placing your marker and getting that all lined up. But when you do row 4, that is the repeat wrap and turn, you know, easy peasy. And not that the first one's hard, it's not. But anyways, what I'll probably do, to answer Donna's question earlier, and for anyone in the future that's watching, is if I intend to go live at some point, a day or two prior to that, I will post up a quick video just saying next live scheduled for the half and half KAL. And that way, you'll see. You know, it'll be like a really quick little video. Hey, it's Brandy. Today's Tuesday. I just want to let you guys know I'm going to be doing a live on Friday at this time, if you want to join in. And that way people have a little bit of notice. So I will let you guys know in advance when I'm going to be able to do a live. It's just going to depend. For someone that's not working right now, well, I have years of stuff that I'm trying to get caught up on. Appointments, just taking care of all the business of living that one cannot apparently do while working at 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday job. Because that is no bueno. It is lunchtime. I'm starving. Can you hear all the racket coming out of the kitchen? Aubrey, you're being too loud. I think she's got her headphones in and she can't hear me, which means that she probably has no idea how much slamming around she's doing in there. Oh, goodness. I am really, really hungry. Oh, you know what I didn't do? Plug this in. Plug in my camera, my tablet here. Hopefully the battery doesn't die while we're talking. Can't even see the indicator. I think it was fully charged. So I think we're going to make it to the end of this row, by golly, by gosh. I'm almost there. See, and if I hadn't been talking, so what I tell you guys, this has been running for an hour and 24 minutes. And I am finishing my thing. Of course, I did cast on and do my first row. But I've been talking, and I've been stopping, and I've been piddling, and I really think about an hour and a half a day is going to be if you were just working on it. If you're trying to do that 90 days, I think that with the amount, the goal stitch count for each day, about an hour and a half average. So like I say, you could break that up, obviously. You could do it different ways, whatever floats your goat. Easy peasy, that's right. And no one's saying, like I said, you're the boss of you. You can run your ship as loose or as tight as you want. But I'll say, I didn't enjoy my first half and half as much because I didn't realize that it was a process knit. But boy, the second one has been a dream for me. I have enjoyed every single stitch on that one, and I'll show you guys that one. I'm so close. I'm so close. It's so gorgeous, and I cannot wait. I cannot wait to have it and just curl up in it, even though I already have one. I want to get that one made because I'm so worried about my first one. I'm like, I'm going to wear this one completely out. It needs a shave. It's got little pills all over it now. But I love it. I love it. I love it. And the cats love it. And that's what's funny. And as much as they're always messing with it, they haven't actually hurt anything. I mean, their little claws get stuck and they will pull a little thread every once in a while. I just kind of work it right back and it's good as new. But my yarn is starting to pill, but I've been hardcore using it now for, I finished it in October of 24, but then I threw it in a down. I threw it in the drawer because I didn't like it. I thought it was ugly because it was so misshapen because it needed to be blocked. Because it took me, how many ever years, I always say 2 or 3 years, to finish the darn thing, and it looked terrible because my tension was all over the place. But anyways, once I blocked it, that all went away, and it was great and fun and beautiful. I did it, y'all. I wrapped my 258 stitch, and I made it back to the beginning. So, yay! All the stitch markers on there, even this thing gonna fall off. But you can never be too careful. I have dropped the stitches. Woohoo! I have dropped the stitches. Not at this point. It's when the darn thing's weighing 18 pounds. So let me show you guys where I am on my second half and half. I shall return at you. 1 second. Ow, did y'all hear that?
Hi.
Hi.
Did you remember to order the zip bun yesterday?
I didn't, it's automatic.
Oh.
So, I'm still on my life.
Okay. Sorry.
It's okay. I'll let you know when your prescriptions arrive. Okay, let's see here. Set this down. Ooh, it's so pretty. Pixie, are you in that basket? You're so cute. Okay, let's see. This bad boy is getting ginormous. Okay, where are we? So, the pink side was the first side, and it's been complete. So, it's getting really difficult to try to figure out how to show this. Okay, so let's just show. It's big. It's a big guy. So the pink side I did first, and it's done. So we got the whole thing is, the whole pink side is done. And then we started the chestnut red side, and so it's coming along. We finished all of this, and here is what we've got left to do. That's all the stitches I have left. It's like, I don't know, 70, 80 something, I don't know, more than, it's less than 100. I know that. I know I got over 160 picked up. So, yeah. Whew. I am ready. I want all the cozies. What does that say? I'm getting twos. Oh, I think it cut off. Goes too fast for me. Huge. It is huge. It's huge and glorious in every way. Love getting to be creative with you. Oh, well, thank you, Wendy. I'm so glad that you came and stopped by. That made my heart smile. So, like I say, even if you're not doing the half and half wrap, you can still come and hang out with us. I don't care what you're doing. Just come and be a part of it, right? Have fun. As long as you're for being cozy and happy, and I mean, you don't have to be happy. I'm not trying to force anybody to be happy, but we're just trying to find some peace and some comfort and enjoy making our art and putting our heart and soul into something precious and special. That's what I like to do, if I can, as much as I can, whenever I can. One of my cats is having a good time. She flipped a basket over on top of herself. All right, well, I am gonna call it. I'm gonna eat some food because I'm starving. I'm so hungry. This diet limeade is not hitting the spot for food intake at all. But it was good. I appreciate you guys coming by today. Watch for this upcoming week. Like I said, I will put up a video that shows, you're very welcome, Donna, that shows when I'll do the next live, and that way we can check in. I will go back once this, it has to render or do something, but then it will go into the live section of my channel, and I will go in and add a description and put those stitch counts on this video as well, so that you guys have those to refer back to. And I will pop in the link to the pattern in case you're watching this at a later date, and then you can join in too, okay? I will talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Now I just got to figure out how to stop this thing. I want to stop.